So one of the main questions we get asked in regards to our charred cladding is, why is there 3 options? And the main reason is because of the BEL ratings required for residential projects. So we have 3 main species. One is burnt ash, which is a thermally modified American hardwood. And then we have spotted gum, which is a BEL 29 rated Australian species. And then Jarrah, which is an Australian BEL 19 species. And the reason we char these 3 options is because they each have different BEL ratings. So spotted gum, as I mentioned, is BEL 29, Jarrah is BEL 19, and then burnt ash doesn't achieve a BEL rating. So generally speaking, the main reason you would use charred spotted gum would be if you had a BEL 29 rated project. There's no real other benefit of having charred spotted gum opposed to Jarrah, for example, or charred burnt ash. The reason being is spotted gum is the most dense hardwood to char, and as a result, it's very difficult to get an incredibly crackled surface like you can achieve with a less dense timber. So the other option in line is Jarrah, which is the BEL 19 option. So this is obviously a little bit less density than spotted gum, and we can achieve a more crackled surface on the board. So if you have a project that is BEL 19 rated, this would obviously be the ideal choice. And along with that, Jarrah is also the most cost-effective option, and we're able to achieve that nice depth of char, which is obviously the purpose of why you would buy charred cladding in the first place. So last but not least is the thermally modified burnt ash option. And this is obviously the most premium option we offer because of its thermal modification. The timber is incredibly stable, so it doesn't expand and contract at all, really, when it's exposed to the elements in external environments. And as a result, throughout the charring process, which is extreme heat, as you could imagine, as it's crackling the surface and we char all 4 sides, the boards don't move around, and as a result you have a far more stable board and a very consistent depth of char. So ideal for those projects that don't require a BEL rating. In covering off on the 3 main options, all of these options go through the same charring process. So we char at Mortlock Timber all 4 sides of the board. This is something that we're very passionate about. A lot of other products on the market don't go to this detail, and the reason we do this is because the heat on the surface of the board, if you are only to char one side, tends to make the boards to cup. You can imagine a piece of toast. As you're toasting it, the toast curls up if you only apply the heat to one side. So that's why we char the bottom as well, and this also enables us to get a more consistent depth of char on the surface. And it also makes the boards far easier for the installers on site to put them together.
While many companies say that you do not need to maintain Shou Sugi Ban charred timber, this is not entirely correct. Shou Sugi Ban charred timber is still a natural product, and to last for years to come, it does require maintenance. The good news with it is it does require a lot less maintenance than timber that's not charred. So here at Mortlock Timber, we have 2 different types of coatings that we apply to our Shou Sugi Ban charred timber. The first one is Q-Tech CD50 Extreme. The second one is Waka Exterior Oil. As part of our standard range of Shou Sugi Ban charred timber, we supply it pre-coated with Q-Tech CD50 Extreme oil. This oil is applied to the cladding in our factory prior delivery. Once the timber has been delivered and installed, we recommend that a second coat of Q-Tech CD50 Extreme oil with a black ash colour tone is applied to the timber. After this, depending on the level of exposure, it needs another coat of the oil around 3 to 6 months from installation. So this means your timber cladding after 3 to 6 months has had 3 coats of Q-Tech Extreme oil. And as timber is like a sponge, it does take a while to build up a good layer of oil on the surface. So once it's had the 3 coats, it can typically last outside around 18 months to 3 years without needing a recoat, depending on the level of exposure to the weather. The second option we offer is Waka Exterior Oil. Now this is a non-standard option and we only apply this oil on request. It's typically used for interiors as it does stop the loose particles of the char rubbing off. However, this is covered in another video, but it is also an excellent option when used in exterior applications. So at Mortlock, with the Wokka exterior oil, we do factory apply the first coat before we deliver it to site. Once it's been delivered and installed, we recommend giving it a second coat of Wokka exterior oil. And then after that's done, this can typically last up to 2 to 3 years without needing another recoat, depending on the level of exposure. So when it comes to maintenance for internal Shou Sugi Ban timber cladding that's used the Wokka oil, typically this doesn't need recoating as it's generally out of the weather. In the case of where the internal Shou Sugi Ban timber cladding gets damaged, generally all that's required is a touch-up coat of the oil that was originally used on the timber cladding. So above all, maintenance for Shou Sugi Ban timber cladding, the way to manage it is to inspect the cladding, and if it looks like it's fading and you want to bring it back to looking nice and new and fresh, that means another recoat of the oil that was originally used on the cladding is required. So here at Mortlock Timber we often get asked, can we char products other than our timber cladding range? And the answer is yes, we certainly can. So we've worked with a number of architects across residential and commercial projects, including landscapes and public spaces and parks, using our Shou Sugi Ban products. If you've got a project where you're looking to include this in your design, reach out to our project consultants and they'll be able to help you bring your design to life.